Hi, and welcome to Indie Learning Music Tutor. I'm your tutor, Harry. This is my kitty and Bertanon, who's being the giant pain in the ass at what your name is. Hi. And we're going to talk about practice today. Specifically, what do I practice? I'm going to give you how long I practice, but the reality is that not everybody has the same amount of time. So if you have more time, stretch it out. If you have less time to practice, you're going to have to budget your time according to your needs. Now, when I practice, there's 5 things that I always hit on: technique, fretboard knowledge, groove and feel, genre studies, and creative play. Creative play is always going to be a part of every practice session because that's the point. The point to learning music isn't to just, oh look, I can play an instrument. Hooray, good for you. But if you can't use it to express yourself musically, well then what's the point? So creative play becomes a very important part of every musician's practice time because it gives them the time to really help define their own sound, their own tone, their own voice on the instrument. As far as technique exercises are concerned, generally a lot of these things get rolled up into each type of exercise that I do. Technique is part of my warm-up, and I don't even consider that part of my practice time, but technique is part of my warm-up. Technique is also part of my fretboard knowledge, making sure that I'm fingering things correctly, approaching the fretboard in a logical manner that's efficient for my fretting hand. Also, when I'm working on playing chords, I get an excellent workout on my right hand technique, my strumming hand, my plucking hand technique, because I'm not only working on fingering the chords on my fretting hand, but also playing them with my right hand. As far as fretboard knowledge is concerned, currently I'm enlisted in the Scott Devine's fretboard challenge for the Academy members there. There are posts here about it, and you can follow along if you're looking for exercises to help with your fretboard knowledge. Generally, the fretboard knowledge is like the first isolated thing that I do, and in its own exercise container, so to speak. So when I deal with that, when I deal with fretboard knowledge, that's usually a 10 to 15 minute set of exercises. Next up is my groove and feel, and currently I am using Ariane Kapp's book, The Pattern System, to use her approach for working on the major scale throughout the fretboard and the various modes. And she has an exercise in there called groove and fill, where you take a drum beat, you create a groove, and then you fill from one of the other areas of the fretboard. And that's generally how I'm working on my groove and fill, how I'm spacing my notes out, how dense I'm making my lines. These things are all interconnected. It does touch on fretboard knowledge because you do have to have some fretboard knowledge in order to really stretch out on the fill part of the groove and fill. But as far as the groove part of it is concerned, it's basically seeking the bass drum and getting the groove on the beat, getting it in the pocket, so to speak. And as far as genre-based studies are concerned, currently I'm like deep diving into blues, R&B, Motown. I have Standing in the Shadows of Motown, James Jamerson. I took a few seminars from Todd Johnson, picked up some Ray Brown lines, and I'm currently working on What's Going On, which is in the Jamerson book. Basically what I'm doing is I'm learning some common tactics used by musicians to play in a certain genre and incorporating that into my vocabulary. I spend anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes on that every day. And then obviously finally creative play, generally just sitting and noodling around on the instrument, seeing what sounds good, seeing if any of the genre-based studies vocabulary is leaking into my playing. Now granted, I do get to be a little creative with the groove and fill exercise, but it's not the same as dropping a chord progression and a drum beat on my MIDI machine here and just going to town. So that's generally how I build my practice schedule. On the post on my ILMT.com, I'm gonna put up this week's practice schedule for me to give you an example of what my practice schedule actually looks like. I don't put times on anything because if I'm not feeling it, I generally stop it earlier. If I'm feeling it, I just let it go long. It's the reason why I give a range of time, because I spend 5 minutes warming up every day. 5 minutes, that's it. It's a warm-up. It's not a full exercise, and I'm not learning lines. I spent 20 minutes learning the fucking intro to What's Going On. So, getting the timing right, getting the notes under my fingers, then getting the timing right, then understanding what was actually going on while it's being played. So my time varies every day with what I do. The only thing that doesn't vary is what I'm actually doing. So I hope this is helpful, and I hope to see you over on my ILMT.com. If you like this content, if you're looking for someone out there to go on the musical journey with you, here I am. You can hit that like right down there, I think it is. Subscribe and that little bell if you're into all that stuff and want to have me invading your home once a week at least. You can also find me on Instagram under Harry Felker, Facebook Harry Le Boucher Felker. I'm on various other social medias as well, just in case I get banned. There's that. I hope this helps. I hope this helps you understand how I structure my practice, and maybe gives you some ideas on how you can structure your practice as well.